Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to integrate WebSockets inside your React Native app with Node.js as the backend. So now I also have a React.js application running just so that I can show you that I'm able to communicate with any kind of web app. Now if you want, you can open the Android emulator as well, but just that the Android emulator takes a lot of RAM and my laptop couldn't handle it. That's why I'm not showing you the Android emulator. So here I have the React Native app. Now just to be clear with you, I have hard coded the username as well as the room name inside my React Native app. So typically whenever you want to chat, you would require a username as well as a room name. So here the username for React Native app is React Native user, and the room name I have entered is T. Okay, and inside my web app, if you want, you can just create a separate screen where you ask the user about username, room. I just didn't want to include React navigation also in this part of video, otherwise it will again make the video long and unnecessary things. I want to keep it simple. So inside the web app, I will do the same thing. I'll enter some username Rahul, and I'll enter the same group name, room name, sorry. So I'll enter it as T. You can enter whatever you feel like. So yeah, I'll just click on submit. As soon as I join over here you can see I get a message Rahul join T, and the same message I get inside my React Native app as well. I'll send some message. So I have a text input. I should have added more styling to the text input, but anyways, if I write hi and submit it, here you can see the web app also gets this, and if I send some message from my web app, hello, if I submit it, I get it on React Native side as well. Suppose if I close the web tab of my web application, that message also I get Rahul left T. Okay, so yeah, let's see how to do this. So first I'll show you the backend code so that you guys have a clear idea on how I have structured it. So first you will have to have Node.js installed. Create a folder. Inside that you can just open your terminal cd to that folder and then just run npm init-y. It basically creates this package.json file. If you can create this file manually as well, you don't need to run that command, but you will have to add two things. First is this start and dev command, which basically starts this index.js file, which is the entry point of our application. So whenever I run npm run start or npm run dev, it should start our server. And here I have added two dependency, express and express-ws. So you can install this two dependency if you want to. So yeah, just install this two dependency using npm install express and npm install express-ws. Then I have created this index.js file. Here I have first imported express, created an app out of it. Then I have also imported this chat user, which I will tell you about in a bit. Then I have imported express-ws. I have created this is not exactly a route, but kind of like a WebSocket. So here, if you want to connect to this WebSocket, you will have to go to so our server is hosted on localhost 3001. So you will have to go to localhost 3001 / chat, and this colon room name means this can be anything. You can enter anything, whatever you feel like. So as soon as the user connects to this, we are creating an object of our chat user, which I will show you in a bit. And the first parameter is we are sending this function. ws.send is a function present inside this ws express. So we are sending this particular function. It is basically helps us to send data from server to the client side. So we are sending this function to chat user, and second parameter is the room name. And whenever we get any message from the client side, this thing get called, and here we are calling handle message method, which I will show you in a bit as well. And whenever user closes the leaves that particular room, then this close method get called, and here we just call handle close method from our chat user, which also I will show you in a bit. And here we are basically starting our server on port 3001. Next, if you go to chat user.js, it imports room.js, which I will come back to in a bit. And here it takes a constructor which has two inputs. One is the send function which we were sending from index.js, and second is the room name. So here we are assigning it to underscore send, and if you see I have created another method over here, send, okay, and it basically calls this underscore send to which we were assigning the wh.send, right? And whatever data you are passing, I'm just sending that data back to client side. And here we'll see this method of get from this room.js file. And whenever you get any kind of a message, so if you remember, we were calling handle message whenever we get a message, right? So depending on what type is, now whenever I'm sending some data from client side, I'm sending it in form of string. So every message which you get will have some type. I'm sending in form of JSON, sorry. Whenever I send some message from client, I'm sending it in form of JSON. It's not necessary, you can send it in form of string as well. Actually, while sending the data from client in form of JSON, I have to stringify it as well. But if you don't want to do that, you can keep it simple string as well. Okay, so here once I get that JSON data, I'm parsing it, and every message which I send has this type parameter to it, like key parameter. Okay, and depending on whether it is join, chat or something other, I'm handling it that way. So if it is join, then I'm calling handle.join. Now here for this kind of message, I'm sending type as well as name from the client side from in JSON object and stringifying it. Similarly for chat, I'm sending the type equal colon chat and the text, some text input, whatever you have entered inside your text input. So if you see handle join and handle chat are very similar. Basically we are assigning this name to this dot name. Okay, then we are calling this join method from room.js, then this broadcast method. So basically what this broadcast does is, whoever members are present inside in that particular room, it broadcasts that message to all the members. Same for handle chat, we are broadcasting that message. Now there is one bug inside the backend which I couldn't really figure it out. So first, whenever a user joins, this handle join gets called. So here I'm assigning this dot name equal to name, but for handle chat, when I try to print this dot name, it always comes null. I don't know why. And when a user leaves the room, then also I tried printing this dot name, then it comes properly again, which I am really confused about how this is happening. Okay, anyways, and so yeah, and handle close, again same thing, we are getting the name, and if that particular user is present inside this room, then we just call leave as well as broadcast. Okay, so I'm just passing type as well as text, and don't forget this module.export chat user. Now coming to room.js, here we are first creating a map. So all the rooms which you have created, like I have created a room called tea, another room called coffee heads, another room called movie lovers, so all those would be stored inside your map. Typically this is not a good solution. In production you should keep this inside a database, but just for simplicity I'm keeping this inside a map. Now here I have created a static method called get, which takes a room name, and it first sees whether this particular room name is present inside this rooms variable or not. If no, then create a new room. If yes, then return the existing room name. And inside constructor it takes a room name which is assigned to this dot name, and here we are also defining one set of members which are present inside this particular room. So if a user joins this room, we add that particular member to this dot member set. If he leaves it, we call delete method. Again, you should not store it inside set, you should store it inside your database. And for broadcasting, again we just loop over all the members which are present inside this room, and we then call the send method. And if you see, this send method is basically the send method which we had defined over here, which internally calls this dot underscore send. And if you see, this dot underscore send was assigned to wh.send. So we are just basically calling wh.send over here, but here we are broadcasting that message to each and every user. For getting all members, you can use something like this, and for getting a particular member, you can just pass the name and get a member like this. And don't forget module.exports equal to room. Now you can start your server. Coming back to React Native side, firstly you don't well all I have done is that I have hard coded the username and room name. But so that is the disadvantage. If you try to run if you try to run iOS simulator as well as an Android emulator, both username would be same, both room name we want it to be same because we want to test the chat functionality, but username would be also be same. So in case of if you are testing it both on like an Android emulator as well as an iOS simulator, and you don't have this username text field, you can just pass date.now, something like that, so that you can get a random date which would be your username. Otherwise just ask the user for his username in a text input. And here I have created a one text like use state for the message which the user will enter inside the text input. I have created an array to get list of all messages which we get it from the server, so that I can store this inside the array. And here I am doing our WebSocket connection. Now important thing to note is you have to use this WS. Our app is hosted on localhost 3000. If you are trying to test it on real device, and if your NodeJS app is hosted locally, localhost won't work. You will have to enter your IP address :3001/chat and whatever room name the user has entered. And inside use effect I have used socket.on. So as soon as the user is connected to our WebSocket, I am sending a message that okay, this user has joined our server. Send this message to our joined WebSocket, send this message to server, and it will broadcast it to all other members present inside the group. And whenever we receive a message, I am again checking whether if the message type is note, assign it to our set message variable. Same thing I am doing for our chat as well, no difference, but if you want you can do something better. And on close I am just doing a console.log as well. You don't need to emit anything, the server is handled by itself. And on error I am just displaying again an error message. And if you see my UI, I have just taken a text input for entering some message, on button touchable opacity for sending that particular message, and flat list for displaying all the messages which we get inside this messages array. Now also inside your Android manifest.xml, inside Android src main, you will have to add this internet permission, and you also need to add uses clear text traffic equal to true. Next, inside this info.plist of iOS RN app, you will also why we are adding this uses clear text traffic true, because our Node.js app is hosted locally. If you are hosting it on AWS or Google Cloud with proper HTTPS certificates, then you don't need this. Similarly for info.plist, we have to add this because again our Node.js app is hosted locally with HTTP, so that's why you will have to add this as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.